she was having issues jumping with the link, so I just emailed her the link. So she is joining right now.
Okay, perfect. We'll give her a second then. We do not have automatic Oh, maybe we do. We'll try this. This call is being transcribed. Whoop, whoop. We'll see how that works. Then I don't have to race to there. No one has to race to take notes, and Robin can just watch the video or read the transcription. Rob, you have a very fancy logo there.
Thank you. I've turned off the camera so you don't have to watch the ceiling go by. So
you can give us
I'm impressed you're getting your steps.
Yeah, that's good.
You can give us a ship tour that'll account for our CLIA stuff.
there you go.
Did you guys hear about, I'm sure you did, the Royal Caribbean passenger that passed away?
Oh, no.
Navigation of the seas. He was drunk, and I think they gave him something to, he was having a temper tantrum of some kind, and they subdued him, and he passed away.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, on which ship?
Navigator of the seas. Yeah.
Oh.
The seas.
Don't
The
get drunk.
wonder- The Wonder of the Seas is actually on the other side of the dock from us, and that ship is huge compared to the Jewel. Jewel looks tiny compared to the Wonder. It's like,
Let me see if I can show you guys a picture.
Yeah, because Wonder's Oasis, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
Class? Yeah.
yeah,
Massive.
Wonder Tower. Wonder towers over us here.
All right,
There's actually 6 ships here in port today.
Wow.
Wow.
2 Norwegian, the 2 Royal, 1 Carnival, and 1 MSC.
Wow. Busy.
Crowded.
Okay, well, we'll go. Judy or Yudi will join us when she can, I hope. But we'll go ahead and get started. I'll read through the minutes. Last month we had Robin, Sally, Yudi, Trish, and Jen join us. So in finances, we hadn't yet paid all the showcase expenses. We were waiting. We did a refund check for Aer Lingus, but the profit for the showcase was just over 22 grand, and we had almost 44 grand in the account. Let me turn off one of these chats because it just dings at me all day. So annoying. For the showcase, we were looking at September 11th, 2025 for the meeting due to various industry conflicts. Events-wise, we had a glitch with the Explora virtual meetup, and here's Judy. In November, that's been rescheduled to January 7th. December, we had the luncheon. January 7th is the rescheduled Explora. Business Builder in January as well. And Trish was going through a couple other ideas. She asked for a budget for events, which we decided to earmark roughly 10K for the year to go towards events and such. And reminder of the holiday party. On the budget wise, we had a brief discussion around charging members to attend events. Agreed that we shouldn't charge for virtual events by suppliers, but decided that we would charge for the showcase, and members can use that. Will get a voucher if they show up. Members will get a voucher towards a future event.
Can I say something about that?
Yeah.
I think the voucher idea is not good.
Okay.
I mean, because then they're still like, well, I don't have to go. I'll get my voucher for next time. And if we have paid for their lunch and then they don't show up, they're going to get a refund, basically.
Yeah.
We've still paid for their lunch. I think no voucher. You pay for it and you either show up or you don't show up. Because it's not like it's expensive.
Okay.
Just my 2 cents.
Well, and I wanted to add, Yudi and I actually met. She she was kind enough to meet me in Fort Collins and give me a little coaching session. But then we did talk about this whole, we talked about some stuff for ASTA. And what I don't like about the whole voucher idea is keeping track of who has a voucher and who doesn't. And have you spent the voucher or haven't you? And that just seems like a nightmare. And I just think that for in-person events, we have a small fee, whatever we decide on, $5 or something. And for even for ASTA members and for non-ASTA members, it's more, like we're doing for other things. And for virtual events, we don't need to charge a fee because it's not costing us anything. I have a good lineup of things coming, which I can fill everybody in when we get to that point. And I am asking people to provide door prizes so that hopefully we'll get more people to log in when they say they're logging in or signing up and those kinds of things. So I don't like the voucher idea. I was thinking about having to keep track of that, and that just seems like a nightmare.
Any strong opinions otherwise? Okay. Maybe what we'll do, one way to entice people is we can position the ASTA membership discount, which you get the code for if you come, as, hey, come and you'll get this code towards whatever. So, okay. So we'll just make a note, Robin, in the future, just make a note that we're kind of pulling back on the idea of a voucher. Going back to the minutes, we did talk about making it a requirement or a very strong ask that suppliers doing virtual events provide a prize that helps encourage attendance. Budget report, we did a review of the budget. We're going to go through that again and approve that. We made a couple of adjustments for bigger amounts because we're upping the prices next year. Then we had a discussion around the future focus, 2025 focus for the chapter. And, I mentioned that we had hit a lot of our goals over the first 18 months together, or the last 18 months, to stabilize things, start growth, help them be better business people was kind of our focus. Moving forward, we talked about our focus. One of our major focuses being Wyoming and, growing our ASTA membership in general there. We talked through a few different ideas around that. Udi is spearheading that to figure out first who these people even are to invite to an event, and then potentially do little mini road shows. Those of us in Northern Colorado can do this easily, pop up to Wyoming and do coffee meets and greets. We volunteered John and Skylar, as their schedule would allow, to potentially come up and do supplier kind of events as well, to both introduce you guys to that market and entice people to come, so we can talk about how that shapes out if you're interested. This is what happens when you don't go to a meeting. Sally likes the idea of mini showcase in Wyoming at some point in the future. She could even do the disc training again when the snow is gone. So we can look at summer for that potentially. And then do the same thing also in Colorado Springs, because we do have a few folks down there and they always want an event. So start doing the disc event more broadly, because that was successful. So we decided we'd start with kind of meets and greets, basic social things, come meet with ASTA, and then we'll kind of grow it from there. A goal of, roughly 50 people to talk to, start talking to in Wyoming. We'll have an update on that. Another idea for next year was to underwrite a fam trip. There's some stuff moving with Rocky Mountaineer, which Robin suggested. So I know she reached out to them. I mentioned that I have a partner that does river canoe excursions in Moab as well. Potentially could do something there. We also talked about the idea of scholarships. TAC is $570 until the end of April. So I think that's right. So that's an idea if we want to put some structure around a scholarship. And couple that with the idea of, particularly those who are new to the industry, expect them to meet with the board before, after, come with business plan, something to make that scholarship, more meaningful and useful. Hang on one second, John. I'm almost done. It was actually quite a long discussion last month. We talked about member engagements, and we want to be sure that the board is reaching out to people we don't know at events, make them feel more welcome. We had some feedback at some point that Paula from our showcase team, felt like she was left out at events because she didn't know anyone. We want to avoid that, of course. And we also talked board members, and we want to increase our utilization of committees, having backup for everybody in every role, particularly with finance. I believe we volunteered Heather volunteered herself to help Jen with the showcase finances. So that'll take some of that management off of Jen. And then next meeting, which is now, and we're trying out Google transcription stuff. John.
So just related to the scholarship point, one thought that I had was, what do we think about trying to use that as an enticement to increase ASTA membership for those, whatever 30% of folks that showed up to the to our event this year who were not ASTA members? Would that be a potential source to gain new members, to give them a discount on membership or something like that?
I don't think I understand. Let's come back to that in 1 second. Any adjustments to the minutes? I just want to close out this item of business. Sound good to everybody? Okay, cool. We'll take that as unanimous consent. So John, what do you mean?
So I'm thinking for people who are not ASTA members yet, would there be a way that we could use that scholarship money to give people, say, like a 1-year membership in ASTA, so they can remove that barrier to entry in case that is a barrier to anyone, so that they can join events, see the benefits that it gives, that sort of thing, as a potential option?
I don't know. I mean, personally, I don't know. If I were a brand new ASTA member, I think personally I would be too intimidated to go to the conference. Like, I would want to be an ASTA member for a while and see what it's all about, but that's just me.
I was referring to like an annual membership rather than the TAC conference. So as an alternative or in addition to. So I was thinking of targeting those potential new members who live in our catchment area, who maybe are not ASTA members yet, maybe be thinking about it, not sure about the benefits, that sort of thing. I see the annual membership fee as a barrier to a new advisor or someone who's not an ASTA member yet. So if they got a free year on the chapter to say like, hey, here's your membership, come join us for a year, see the benefits, get the mentorship out of, the education and stuff out of the local chapter, that sort of thing, it may entice them to then be successive yearly members of ASTA. It's a theory.
But if they go to the supplier showcase for their $10 or whatever, and then they see kind of what that event is about and they like it, they do get access to a discount to join.
Right.
I don't know. I may be missing your point.
I mean, I'm less inclined to say that we should be subsidizing memberships because, and I get your point. I'm not sure that that's going to be as effective as we want or as we think it might be. I know a couple years ago or a few years ago, there was a big push with Royal Caribbean, and the renewal rate was crap. Like, the people who joined for that 1 year for some benefit from Royal Caribbean did not renew.
They gave us a cruise. I joined then.
Okay. So they basically joined for the cruise, but they didn't renew. So I'm not sure if it has the stickiness. I'm not sure if HQ would like us doing that. Rob, you have your hand up?
So I was going to reiterate, Jeff, what you just spoke in terms of Royal Caribbean's promotion. Yuri, you were the exception, so kudos to you. But many of the people did not go ahead and renew after that year. So I think you have to be cautious in terms of giving away free memberships. And I do agree. I think that might be frowned upon by headquarters. In terms of discounting a membership, I think that's okay. But in terms of giving an actual year away, I think there may be some challenges with that that would need to be considered.
Yeah, because the member would have no skin in the game.
Exactly.
Yeah. I like the idea of a discount. I mean, I'm still going to HQ for like the Wyoming push we want to do. But if
We
they
could do,
go ahead.
we could do a discount if they came to 2 meetings, then we could get them a discount for being a member or something like that. We could tie it to getting people to some meetings maybe. And then they'd see how cool we are.
We are cool.
We're cool.
We're cool.
I don't mind that. I could, I mean, because we keep track, and if they go through Ticket Tailor, it's easy to keep track. And I don't mind a discount. I was thinking, I don't really want to give away membership because I would like someone to pay for my membership. I'm kind of hurting financially right now. So.
It all depends on our goal and the problem we're trying to solve, right?
Right. Or if we wanted to, I don't know, we are trying to increase membership in Wyoming. So I don't know, there might have to be an application or, I don't know if we really want to go that far into it.
We've got a few programs already around memberships. We have discounts for special things that we can get from HQ. Like we do it for the showcase. I want to do it for Wyoming. There's the Future Travel Professionals program, which is only $100 for the first year. So there's other motions around memberships. I'd like to package or figure out how we spend our money on things that are over and above being a member. Like you gotta, like Judy said, have skin in the game and then get these additional, goodies. That's my opinion. Plus the royal thing just really didn't work. Except for Judy. So
she is a gem.
Yeah, that was our
example.
game.
Cool. Okay. Well, thank you, John. Always open to all ideas around things. Couple of other follow-ups just to get them out the way. Robin did reach out to Rocky Mountaineer. There's a little bit of back and forth there. Whether a FAM with them, they have a FAM rate actually, which is pretty good. So we would figure out the structure of that, whether it be before TAC or after TAC. We don't know yet. I would imagine that basically there's a FAM rate, and then perhaps the chapter picks up the bus from Moab to Salt Lake or from Salt Lake to Moab. So we'll figure out what that all looks like, because the biggest problem is getting out of Moab. I do strangely a lot of business in Moab, and I hate it. It's so hard to get anything in and out of there. So we'll figure that all out. Yeah, so that's the one piece of follow-up I had, to be determined. Next up on our list, let's do events. Trish, I saw a lot of Ticket Tailor stuff going on today.
Yes, I was focused. Got in there. I was following your directions, and I was able to get it all done. So as you mentioned, we're redoing the Explora event January 7th, and hopefully we will get some people to show up to that. And then we're doing Stephanie Grease of Travify does an AI presentation. So I reached out to her, and we're going to do that as a business builder on January 21st. So that is ready to go, and on Ticket Tailor. So we want to get those on Facebook. And Lisa and Rob, I think I emailed you as well. Like I'm happy to do that if I don't know if I have access yet. And then February, we're doing Poseidon Expeditions. They had reached out to Jeff, and he had connected them with me, and I've been talking to her yesterday and today. So she's set up for February, the 3rd Tuesday. Also going to do virtual. She's got some nice door prizes, and going to offer anyone that watches the The virtual event, 14% commission if they sell anything. They usually do 12. So that's nice. They do Antarctic and Arctic expeditions. And then March, we're going to have Vacation Express. Again, virtual. I feel like virtual's okay during those winter months. And then starting in April, I'll start to push for more in person. I've got Nicole Hunter from Holland America and Seabourn. I'm talking to Silversea and Hyatt that I'm talking with. And then, of course, we're still trying to figure out a venue for the cell phone photography class that Jeff's friend, is it Noah?
Mhm.
Yeah, said he could do it. And I got to meet him at BNI last week. So yeah, those are all in the works. And Lisa has her hand raised. Yes, ma'am, Lisa.
Yeah, sorry. I know Rob did try to add you before we left, like last week, and then he was having problems with Facebook, or Facebook wasn't cooperating. So I don't know if Rob can try again, or Jeff. I don't know if you have access to add Trish while we're away. Otherwise, I
So
guess Rob will just try again.
So
Okay.
Jeff does not have access, and I'm trying to get Trish on for her events, and I'm also trying to get Jeff full access because he only has partial access. And when I go through, I get the message back from Facebook that they're having issues. So I am trying to get that through, and I've got a message out to Facebook to try to get over this hurdle. But it is in process, and I'm trying to get this through Facebook.
Okay. In the meantime,
media
I emailed you
corporation.
guys the links. So if you want to put those on Facebook. I didn't do the February one yet, but I did the two. I just emailed you earlier today, the two that were for January.
And the only other person, Trish, I'll maybe email you. And Beyond is another, they're kind of a luxury or a virtuoso travel supplier that does Nepal and Africa and different things. And the BDM actually reached out to me because I sent a quote from them to a client, and she was just following up. And she's actually based in Parker.
Okay.
So she might be somebody that could do it in person at some point, since she is in Parker.
Cool.
I mean, it wouldn't have to be in Parker, but you know, she's local. So I'll email you her contact information, and it's just an idea, you know,
Sure.
for another event.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll reach
And
out. to her.
Trish, also on the topic of cruise lines, I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but Dan with the Royal Caribbean is also local.
Oh, okay.
And in the past, he's been very, very, very supportive of ASTA.
Okay.
So I'm sure he'd be willing to do something as well.
All right. I wrote him
line
down as
side.
well. I see your hand is up, John. I just wanted to say, yeah, so now when I'm having conversations with the suppliers, I am mentioning that we're trying to beef up participation. And so we're asking the people who do presentations to offer a door prize or a gift card or those kinds of things. So the first two, Explora, I didn't because they were supposed to supposed to present in November, and we hadn't talked about it then. And then the business builder, my question for you guys was, do we want to offer a door prize because that's a business builder, or do we think we'll get good participation because it's a business builder?
Yeah, I think we had talked about that at the luncheon. I'm in favor of the idea of the chapter filling in out of our new events budget.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't remember.
Prize of some kind. What do other people think? Just trying to make sure that people are showing up to these events.
Well,
Like-
especially if it's going to be a charge, a prize would be an extra penny.
So we're just going to start charging for non-members for virtual events. Members, it's free for a virtual event. But if it's a $50 gift card or something like that, they should show up. So are we okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Good.
I mean, I have a grip of Sandals pens, but that's probably not a great case.
I have a bunch of
Every time I go to CPC, I steal all the pens because I really like them.
Marcella Maya left me with a whole bunch of little bags at the event. What was that, John? You wanted to add something?
Yeah, just a real quick one. It sounds like there's a fair bit of kind of BDMs who live in the area-ish. We could also look at teaming up for some of these in-person events, you know, if that would be more attractive to advisors in the area, you know, a multi-draw kind of thing. I think back to that night we did, it was like 4 cruise lines or something like that. Few years ago, we got a really good turnout to that, but, you know, we could do non-compete as well, pull in a cruise, pull in a, you know, different types of suppliers, that sort of thing, a hotel, etc. We could look at doing a combined event. I'm sure that BDMs would be open to that. I'm open to that as well.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Sally?
I can't remember what I was going to ask, so I'm going to decline.
Jennifer?
I was just going to say, it sounds like we have a lot of suppliers in the pipeline, but if we want to add some like how-to type business builder, I also have my videographer friends who I think would be really good for travel advisors to learn a little bit more about video strategy.
That'd be great. Do you want to connect me with them?
Yep.
Okay. And then I'll contact them. That'd be wonderful.
And Rob?
Oh, sorry.
So I'm just going to follow up on John's point that pre-COVID we had done, for lack of a better way to describe it, a mini showcase, which was getting a group of the local BDMs in, and we actually did like roundtables. So that worked quite well. And also I wanted to mention that in my role currently as regional director, since I hear from all the other chapters, I've been seeing quite a few suppliers coming in from other chapters who are new in the pipeline. So when we have the chapter presidents meeting in January, my hope is to get the chapter presidents onto a regional discussion. And one of the points of topic will be, okay, who are the suppliers you use? So everybody can get new supplier names and ideas. That's in the pipeline as well.
That'd be good.
Cool. Awesome. Anything else on events?
That's all I have.
Okay. Showcase. I have the suppliers list ready, so that's going to go out. I'm going to work with Robin on that. Been pulling from a few different sources. So we've got 80 priority, which is people who signed up last year and people who've been reaching out and saying, sign me up. So I had to dig through email for that. And then poaching a couple other lists from ASTA. So we'll get that saved to date out. Anything else on Showcase right now, Sally?
That's the only thing that's in arrears.
Okay.
If we can get that out, I'm getting concerned because we're up against Christmas and then wave season. So I'd like to get that out as soon as we could. And the other things are all rocking away. Our next meeting is on January 21st. And so, you know, we've got a whole list of stuff to do then to rock and roll and get stuff going. Because then it's essentially in December and January, we head down to get the registration form up for suppliers. So that's coming up pretty quickly. So we can get that on the.
Okay.
And other than that, things are rocking and rolling. We had 12 at our last meeting, and everybody like put their camera on, and we were cool. I was pleased. Trish, you had a comment?
Yeah, I think I unfortunately planned the business builder with Stephanie Grease at the same time as we had planned our supplier showcase meeting for the 21st at 3. I don't know why. I'm sorry.
Oh, I know what I wanted to, because we really worked to get that date that worked for everybody.
Could we just move the supplier meeting up an hour or back an hour?
Oh, I think that would work rather than trying to find a whole nother day.
Yeah. Just because I've already planned it with her and she's really busy. I don't know if you know her, but she's.
No, but maybe, the people, we have half the committee here. Is moving it, 2 to 3 better or 4 to 5 better? 2 to 3 goes up, 4 to 5 goes down. Okay, yeah, okay, so let's move it to 2 to 3.
I'm so sorry about that. I'll try to do better next time.
Okay, so we'll get that out. And good. I think we're, basically we had a great team meeting and people were gung ho and we're rock and rolling. And Jeff, in order to change that meeting, you had set that meeting up.
And I just sent the new one. Ooh,
Okay, great.
I might have screwed that
Thank
up.
you. Yeah,
I have
so
too many calendars.
I would believe that. I have too many and I only have 2. So
Oh, well, it went out. I don't know what account it's going to come from.
I'll look and see if I got it. Okay, so yeah, so we're in good shape and we're staying at the same place. People had lots of ideas about other places to go and wanted me to go look, and I don't have time to do that. So we're staying at the same place for this year.
Yep. Cool. All right, let's talk budget. Jen, do you need me to share or are you good to share?
No, actually I send a note out because I'm on my B equipment. If somebody could share for me, that'd be awesome.
No problem. I've got it ready for you. Couldn't remember if you were in transit or another reason. How do I do this? Just present this tab. Yes, please. Cool. Alrighty. Just tell me where to click.
All right. So this is the total budget looking at both the trade show and the operational piece, which we break out on separate tabs. But for 2025, I raised the trade show sponsorships to $33,500. I did the math on increasing the table price and increasing the presentation slot and increasing the lunch slot. So we added about $3,500 to the trade show sponsorships, which is a little more than this year. It came in at $31,752 this year. Everything's in now. Aer Lingus even cashed its check, so that's good. So we're a little bit higher than this year due to the increase in prices. Still budgeted about $400 in non-ASTA people paying a nominal fee to come attend our trade show. So total income is $33,900. The rent, $4,000, just a little bit over what we paid for this year, but we're going to keep it at the same place. So hopefully that'll still come in as planned. We have the printing expense. We decided to keep that how it's been budgeted. I added travel for you, Jeff. We already paid some of your travel for next year, and I know you have a couple more things on the agenda. So that increased to $22,000 for you, Jeff, and then $250 for a couple rooms for the trade show. So the meetings education chapter, this is where we decided to reinvest the trade show earnings to like the events. So that's why that went way up. And then everything else I think is pretty status quo. I sort of fiddled around for us to come in at a nice $10,000 profit. So that's what we're looking at for next year. Trish, what's your?
So the rooms for the showcase, we only have budgeted for 2 rooms, and that's of course for Sally. And then I think Robin gets the other room. We now have Yudi who will be coming from.
No. We're going to do 2 rooms with 2 beds each, so it should help for 4 of us.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to clarify because we have,
we have, and we have Andrea now from Colorado Springs, which
Right.
she comes up from the night before. So the good news is we're for the showcase at least, and also for the board, we're getting people from more than Denver.
Right.
So we're budgeting for 4 people to stay overnight, 2
Okay.
per room.
I just wanted to clarify. I mean, I come too, but I have an aunt that lives down there who always hosts me, so I'm good. Until
Yeah.
she's not there anymore. But so far, so good. Okay, just checking. Thanks.
Yep. So that's in there to cover 4 people. And yeah, we have plenty of money for the events. So I think you're good there too.
Yep, that 10 grand increase is sitting basically here, right?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Any other thoughts, questions, input on the budget?
Oh, just
Yeah.
Just a thank you to Jennifer for making all those adjustments.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
That's great.
Yeah.
So not to throw any wrenches in this, but I would move that we, I can't move, I'm the chair, but I would entertain a motion to approve the budget. I want to call out that yesterday we did have a chapter president's meeting. And what Rob had alluded to a few months ago is now happening. It is not going, I've been on my back channel with other presidents, I've been calling it the tax. It's not a tax. But there is going to be a consumer, what are we calling it, Rob? Consumer Awareness Fund.
Consumer advocacy.
Yeah, or advocacy or awareness fund or something like that. So that's a new fund, and it's going to be strongly suggested that chapters donate to that based on prior year something in the financials that was a little murky. I believe it's going to be
5% out the base total.
Out
Of
of
what's in the account.
of what's in the account.
So whatever the total is, so it's going to be based on whatever at year-end financials, when those get submitted, that total is going to be the total that they'll look at, and they're asking for the 5% off of that to go into the consumer awareness. And the other thing to be aware of, Jeff, that was not mentioned, is that ASTA is going to be changing its calendar year back to a normal calendar year from January 1st to December 31st. Previously, it had been from TAC to TAC. And since TAC originally was in August and they moved it to May, and TAC moves around all the time, it was like, okay, well, when is the ASTA calendar year? Nobody really knew. So they finally came to their senses and said, okay, we're going to do it just on calendar year from January 1st to December 31st. So that is going to start this year, but what's going to make that unique is since we are currently in the middle of the ASTA calendar year TAC to TAC, there's going to be the first quarter of 2025 is going to be double counted. So it's going to still be the TAC to TAC. When it gets to TAC in May, then that will eliminate, and it will still be on the year to January 1st to December 31st. And as I'm saying this, I'm realizing it sounds incredibly complex, which it kind of is. But that is what they are looking at. So,
Sally?
Yeah, I have some real concern about this 5% on what we have in there, because right now we got 40 grand in there, and unless we spend, and suppose if they took 5% out this year of that 40 grand, unless we spend all that 40 grand, we are going to pay another 5% on the same 40 grand next year. And I'm not okay with paying again and again on the money that we're carrying forward because we're good at budgeting. I mean, if we blew all our money, which maybe we need to allocate it to places, but if we blew all our money, then we'd only owe 5% on whatever we have next year and not on whatever we carry over. So there's a real disincentive there. It's almost like government spending. You got to spend it by the end of the year, or we take it away. So I'm not, given that our trade show is making us the most of the money, I'm going to speak up pretty loudly about I'm not working real hard so that they can take 5% of the same money year after year.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you. There are aspects of this that I don't think that need more discussion. And I can guarantee it's going to be a lively CPC in January, because it always is. So I'm kind of more okay with a certain number or a max number or a certain number out of your operating profit rather than based on what's in the account. Based on what's in the account seems really funny to me. Because you're right, it creates disincentives and a few other things. So, yeah. The other thing I do want to point out at the moment is that it's been positioned as optional. Now, there's other incentives for chapters to meet certain goals, like certain donations to the Advocacy Fund or Awareness Fund, and to ASTA PAC, because they also want to make the new ASTA PAC goal of 5%. So some of this needs to be worked out. I've got a bunch of questions around even how their new incentive program should work. So this is not done and dusted yet. At least I don't think it is. The board may think it is, but I think there's going to be a lot of discussions and feedback at CPC.
So I will add that I think that Zane may think it is, but I think that at the CPC it needs to be discussed. I will mention that yesterday in the meeting, Jeff did ask if there are any non-financial things that could be substituted, which was a great question. We actually, when we had the regional directors call prior to the call yesterday, had discussed non-financial options that could be used in place of the 5% donations. We were told that would have to be presented to Zane, and I guess they presented to Zane, and Zane, from I guess what we saw yesterday, has declined that for whatever reason, which we do not know. So from a regional director's side, we were kind of blindsided by that as well, because there were some non-financial things we had discussed. So I do agree with Jeff. I think it will be a lively conversation in January that I think needs to take place for higher ups in ASTA to hear. So we'll see where this lands. But this is where it is now.
John? Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, so sorry if I missed it, Jeff. When would the first optional mandatory 5% be taken out?
Well, for the record, they can't take it out. It is positioned as optional.
Good.
And ASTA, because I'm terrible at paperwork, doesn't actually have access to our account right now. But my understanding is that it's no longer a requirement anyway. So they are not going to reach into any chapter accounts to take money.
Got it. I thought they had control and they could move funding if they so desired. Okay.
It's being positioned as optional. And for anyone who was in last month's meeting, the sun thing is happening again. So I'm about to turn into a deity, apparently, which is why half my head is starting to melt. So it is optional. The incentive is, big special chapters, special invites for chapters and their boards to do things and that sort of thing. Details to follow.
So would that be prior to TAC, or would it be in the new calendar year? So i.e. this time next year?
So right now, let me interject here. So right
Please.
now they have nothing to base it on, because they're going to be basing it on the year-end financials, which come out in end of January, I believe it is.
Okay.
So they can't do anything right now because they don't know what the year-end financials are for each chapter. So even if they wanted to move forward at this point, they cannot. The donation portion of it, I'll call it that, would take place since they are changing from account to a regular calendar year, January 1st to December 31st, would be counted sometime during that calendar year.
Okay, so they will take our final number for this year, and
There'd
it
be-
would
there'd
be
be
determined
no
what
such-
happens next year.
They take the final amount from the year-end financials, and then if the chapter decides to give, then they would give sometime during whatever the calendar year is.
Okay.
And that
Wow.
calendar year would place them into the higher category of chapter president ambassador circle, I think was the name they gave it yesterday. So
Got it. Okay, that clarifies it for me. Thanks.
Sally?
Patricia was next.
Oh, Trish, sorry.
That's okay. I know this would not be easy, but if they do this, I mean, then maybe we would need to move up our supplier showcase so that we have longer to spend our money before they take a look at what we have in our coffers. Because since we do it so late and it takes us that long to collect all the money, they're just seeing everything that we finally know we have. We now know we have $40,000 and now it's going to be December 31st. So we'll just have to see how it goes, obviously, but we could slowly move it up to June. I mean, we're Colorado, so we can't really do it like in April or something because of weather. We could slowly move it up to June or something like that. So then we know how much money we have so that we can spend it in the year, and then they would not see that we have so much money in our account. Just a thought.
Sally?
Yeah, mine's along the same vein. I think, Jennifer, you got a bill for the facility for next year. Or maybe she just sent it to me. She may have done that. If you haven't seen it.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that.
Oh, shoot. I bet it
I'll
came
go
to
look
just me.
for
You know, I think I noticed at the time, but what I'm thinking is we need to put half down. What if we paid for the whole facility now? And that's $4,000. We'll get that out of our account. And what if we look at whatever else we need to spend money on this next year and do it in the next week? And we bring down that $40,000. Like, I don't know what else we need to spend money on this year. But if
So-
we're talking about FAM, could we prepay some stuff for or at least put it in a category which shows it as spent? I don't care about some funny budgeting. I'm just like really irritated that they might take that money and the same money every year.
So I don't have a problem with doing that either, by the way. The other, there's a couple of things in flight. You know, I follow Rob's always transparent with us and with me. I want to be transparent with the board. I can't underscore enough how entertaining CPC meetings can be on topics like this. So there will be extensive discussion about this in January. And then the next week I get to come back and give you all the popcorn minutes from it. So I've got a lot of these thoughts on it. You know, I think that, you know, if we look at the big picture, the idea of this fund is not necessarily a bad one. The way that it's currently being structured is there's a lot of open questions. You know, we're a particularly well-off chapter. There's a few others that are as well. And then there's a whole bunch of chapters that have virtually no money, including in markets that are bigger than ours. So, you know, how does that consumer advocacy fund dollars get allocated to markets is a pretty big question. If we're contributing more than another chapter, should more of that budget be spent in our market versus maybe bigger travel markets, but they're contributing less? You know, there's a lot of those kind of questions that have yet to be answered. It is optional. We can choose not to contribute, and a few other things. So let's not get too knickers in a twist yet about this, because we are still in control of our finances and what we choose to spend it on and what we do for our members. Yeah, Jennifer.
I was just going to say, if we spend the money on meetings and events, then yeah, we have the $40K, we pay $2K is the 5% on the 40K that we have in the thing this year. But then we're not adding as much next year because we're spending it all during the year on the meetings and events, and we could have lunches, more lunches and stuff like that. Might be a little bit of a consolation for this.
And these kinds of discussions are going to be happening in multiple chapters, and it's the kind of thing that's going to be discussed at the January meeting, because I don't want to be a chapter president that has to play these kind of games because we're concerned about our ability to keep our money flowing in. No one else does either. So it's that kind of unintended consequence that will make clear to the folks at headquarters in January that we need to be, very mindful of how we're implementing this idea, because it's going to create conversations like this in every chapter. Yeah, Rob.
So I was going to encourage this group to stay calm. I agree with Jeff that there's going to be discussion on this at the CPC meeting. I can also tell you all that we are not the only chapter with these concerns, and that includes the regional directors who also have concerns over this. So I think what was mentioned yesterday, was mentioned just so there was more of a heads up to make people aware of what's in possible pipeline. But I think that there could come out something completely different, assuming that there's some vocalization made at the chapter president's meeting in January, which I'm sure there will be. So right now I would just stay calm until we find out what comes out on the other end, and then plan in a logical way. But at this point, to just be aware of the situation, so we can start thinking of it if it does come out in a bad way. We can know what our options are and how to move forward. So that would be my recommendation.
Yeah, and I'm thankful that they held that meeting. I mean, the agenda of the meeting was not what was in the title of the meeting, so I was coming loaded for different bear yesterday, and so, but I'm glad that they did it, and because it allows us to have this conversation here on this team, and then this has been helpful for me to organize thoughts for January. So, and like I said, there's other back channels that are very entertaining. So, yeah, Trish, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I think I just wanted to come back around and say, I do feel like perhaps we're not used to having money in our coffers. And so we're feeling a little stingy. If they're going to use the money appropriately, I don't have a problem. I mean, that's why we joined ASTA, because we know that they're going to be advocating for travel advisors. So I don't have a problem with that. $2,000 is not going to make or break our chapter. So I don't have a problem with it, really. I just want to make sure that it gets used appropriately. And I want to make sure that we continue to, that our supplier showcase continues to make us money so that we can feel that way about it. I think that maybe we're all just feeling a little stingy because we're not used to having money, and we're not even sure how we're going to spend this money. So I just want to say that. I think we're all not sure yet about our finances. So it feels a little weird.
Lisa?
Lisa, you're on mute.
Lisa, are you talking?
No, yeah, sorry.
No, you're
I
fine.
was pressing the wrong button. I just was going to say I agree with everything that said, but also Rob and I need to go. So.
Oh yes, it's your dinner time.
We're on the early dinner, so it's at 5 here. So we're going.
And we're Central Time, so.
Yeah.
Enjoy your dinner.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
See y'all later.
All right.
Bye.
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 Sally?
Yeah, I'm not as concerned about the $2,000 as I am about them re-taxing that if there's any of it left the next year.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it needs to be in a sustainable
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, I agree with Trish that, $2,000 isn't going to break us, but it's just, there's no incentive then. The incentive then is to spend all your money that year. because otherwise we're going to get taxed again on this money next year if we don't spend it all. And maybe we get taxed on new money we bring in or something. But I'm not okay with giving up $2,000 of this money and then giving up someone next year of the same money. Once is enough to get dinged on.
Yeah.
And again, you're right, Trish. A couple of years ago, we had Zippo money. Until we started doing the trade show 3 years ago, we had almost Zippo money. But we've worked pretty hard to get where we are.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Okay, so be aware of that. We still have this topic. So can I have a motion to accept the budget for as stands for 2020, whatever next year is, 2025? I'll
So
see him.
move.
So moved. Sally, second.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We have a
Say that
budget.
Trish did the second, so that way it'll go in the minutes.
Trish did the second. Thank you, Sally. I forget how to do this sometimes. Okay. Other things from yesterday's meeting that are not terrifying. There are going to be more benefits coming for officers of the boards. So I don't have details yet. They're going to send out the slide deck. When they do, I will forward it on to the team. But things like discounts off membership, discounts off events, other things like that. So stay tuned, because they are investing more into the chapters as well as things like consumer awareness funds and stuff like that. So that's all good. So there is cool stuff coming. Yeah, Sally.
Can you stop sharing so we can see each other?
Oh, I'm sorry. I have it in gallery mode so I could see you all. So yes, more stuff will come, and I wasn't taking notes very well because I was expecting to get the deck right away, and I didn't. So as soon as it comes, I will send it on to you guys. And then of course, CPC. I'll just live stream CPC if you really want to make some popcorn. It's a lot of fun. Okay, so what else do we need to talk about? We're kind of running up on time here. Any other business from anybody? I want to follow up on real quickly on the thing around Wyoming. We have pulled so far 40 names of potential people that are not members. So working with UD on that. That'll pick up in earnest in January, in July. Yes, Sally.
I just looked, the Denver trade show this year is the second weekend in March. It's not in January this year. But we just should get that on our calendars so that we're being aware of it as we're scheduling other things. It's weekend. It's a Saturday, Sunday. I think it's 8-9 or something in March.
It is. It is the weekend before River Cruise Expo. We have a volunteer form on our site. We have had a couple of people opt to use that and even volunteer specifically for helping out at that event. So it will go. So Robin, future Robin, for our newsletter, hopefully we have a staff change announcement. And then general holiday greeting, and start getting volunteers for that, as well as just other volunteer-y stuff. Yeah, Sally?
I did. Wait a minute, I just remembered what else I was going to say. Jeez. Okay. No, it's about the event. Oh, I know. At the event, it looks like ASTA National is doing a presentation. Along with Pauline Fromer and those other people. There's listed an ASTA thing. So I think we ought to check and see what that is, and how that's going to affect. But it looks like they had a thing for ASTA on the presenters.
Oh, cool. They have not told me about that. And I haven't looked at other than anything we have to do for the chapter. I'm not really planning on going this year because I'll probably be skiing, and also I'm going to River Cruise Expo like 2 days later. So hopefully they're sending somebody.
Yeah, that's great. But hey, I just noticed that. Sorry, that's what I want to say.
Thank you. Okay. Anything else from anybody? All right, as always, thank you for your inputs today, particularly around the stuff from National. There will be more details. Rob and I have not talked about it, but we're on the same page. So we're going to go forward into that meeting and really make sure this is hashed out intelligently. I don't think it's a bad idea, but to Trisha's point, what they do with the money and how they spend it is important. I've never actually had to say it out loud. Verification is a pretty cool concept. Needs some work, but it's a cool concept. And I think it's all goodness. It's just a matter of how does it get implemented. So that's the part that has more discussion coming, whether HQ knows it or not. So yeah. So thank you all for your input. Helps me organize my thoughts. If there's no other business, we can adjourn for this month. And let's throw out the date for next month, which should be January 22nd at 3:00. Does that work for everybody?
That's
Yep.
the fourth Wednesday,
Oh, yeah.
which is okay with me.
Oh, right. That's because CPC is on the third Wednesday.
Okay, so we're gonna move it to the fourth Wednesday. That's fine with me.
That works better for me.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
going to help a friend at a fly fishing show on the 15th.
Ooh,
I'll be in
Cool.
her booth. I know nothing about fly fishing.
Cool. All righty. Well, that's it for today. Thank you, everybody. And
I wanna
have a happy
say
holidays.
how much fun it is to see everybody. It's so
Yeah.
good to be connected.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Everyone have a great holiday.
Happy
Thanks for
holidays.
everybody.
And we'll see
Happy
you all.
holidays.
Yeah, have a great holiday, everybody.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Yudi.